Folks, welcome into another edition on Tuesday. It is 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm your host, Donnie RightSide. He's the big man on campus. This is the right side of campus, powered by uwager.eu throughout March Madness, and also the good people at sbrodds.com. Big man, a Final Four is in place for today. Not the big Final Four, but still a lot of action to go over with four very good teams that we've tracked throughout the season, and one dog that's just been climbing and climbing and climbing with Cal State Bakersfield. Let's get right into this Final Four matchups today. What looks like is the most intriguing thing to you, big man, when checking out these two ball games here at Madison Square Garden?
Well, I think both of them, Donnie, are intriguing games. And, I mean, for a guy like me who can really kind of makes his hay off of Bakersfield, teams like that, Central Florida, I'm excited about these two games. I'm more excited about these two games than I am about the actual tournament. Other than Gonzaga. But, yeah, I think there's rooting interest in both of these. We're going to break them down pretty heavily and get people excited for these two games because I think there's some money-making opportunities in both of these games today. I also, Donnie, want to welcome anyone in who's out there looking for some football plays.
Yes.
I have them as well. Wait on the show. I will give them out absolutely free. I'm crushing those World Cup qualifiers. I have two more for you today, and I urge you to listen in so you can get those.
Yeah, big man. Hey, by the way, I know I saw that tweet coming out earlier, which, again, I'll be following right along, making some money as well. Just looking at soccer, the way we call it American football handicapping, is a little bit different of an approach, especially during World Cup qualifying and also with friendlies. You know me, I don't follow soccer, but I like to follow winners. Before we get into the college basketball, just give a little bit of insight. You know, a lot of people tune into the show because it is a college basketball show about the money that can be made in soccer in those type of environments. Just give them a little bit of piece of information.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of money to be made, Donnie, in World Cup qualifiers. I'm not a big friendly person just because they're very tough to gauge the interest in the players. You have to remember, soccer players have a intense season as far as club soccer plus their international competition. Friendlies are more of a just kind of a primer to the actual games that actually matter. So for me, friendlies I don't normally play, but qualifiers are important. There's 10 of them. They're in week 4, and if you look at the tables of the different groups, if you study it long enough, you seem to almost you're able to pick off the teams that aren't very good. A lot of the time, teams are really good at home and not good. It's very similar to any other handicapping, but it's also about some of the really poor teams are really, really bad. And a lot of the time, in particular, like today with Uzbekistan, they've been a team that I've made money on. They're a very good home side. And they really needed this win today. They really needed to continue to keep pace in their group. And, for me, that's important. The game that I'm looking at later today has the same sort of, things that I'm looking for. So, again, it's very complex as far as things you have to look for. You really have to kind of go at it balls deep and just really kind of look at all these teams and look at how good they are. But really, Donnie, a lot of the time, it's just about looking at the side and how good you think they are. A lot of the time, betting against the bad teams, you're going to make a lot of money, i.e. betting against Malta, San Marino, Gibraltar, Estonia, really poor sides that really have no shot and really have no business being there. By following it, just like anything else, you'll get to know it and be able to beat it.
No, we'll definitely be looking forward to that. We'll make sure we get that in towards the later part of the show. So chime in with that if you have any football updates for the big man. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer those. But let's get right into the meat and potatoes of today for us. Cal State Bakersfield, Georgia Tech's going to tip it off 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time up in the Garden. What more can you say, Jeff, about Cal State Bakersfield? Not many people, or not many gamblers, I should say, have followed them all the way through the WAC this year, but they've made a nice run starting around January 14th, went on a string and run, got double digits together, lost a couple close games, no slouch losing to New Mexico State in the WAC tournament there, but rebounded beautifully. That's a Cal team that, didn't want to be there on the court. Cal State beat them pretty easily. A game Colorado State on the road, which is a tough place to play. And then following up with a red-hot team at home, UTA Arlington. The one thing that really sticks out to me, Jeff, here is the three-point shooting of Cal State Bakersfield over the last 3 games. Coming into tournament play, they were averaging somewhere around 250th in the country in shooting the three. And this is not a volume shooting 3 team. They average somewhere between 20 to 30% of their shots from 3, which is, if you translate over to a team like Akron, shoots almost 50% of their offensive shots from 3. 9 of 21 big man versus Cal, 11 of 19 on the road versus Colorado State, and then following up with another road game, 10 of 19 versus UTA Arlington. No surprise here, Cal State Bakersfield has been jumping on teams from the start. What translate in that? Why do you think they're getting so hot with 3-point shooting? Is it just that time of the year?
Yeah, I don't really know. I have no idea. I've seen this team play a lot this year, and they really don't have anyone that really knocks your socks off as far as from a 3-point perspective. They don't really have a knockdown shooter or anything. But yeah, I mean, look, we talked about it before the game against Arlington. Their extreme success shooting the 3-ball, 51% in this tournament shooting the 3, and yeah, I don't know where that comes from. I mean, they only shoot it at about 35% as a team. This isn't their thing. This isn't their score. The way they're scoring in this tournament, it's really kind of off the beaten path of what this team has been over the years. I mean, they're 20th in the country this year, Donnie, defensively. And look, to be honest, in this game, I think it's going to present Georgia Tech a little bit of a problem here. I mean, you look at Bakersfield, they're not lined very often, but when they are, they cover numbers. I mean, they're 15-4 against the spread over the last 19. They've covered 4 of 5 this year as an underdog. And my one concern for Georgia Tech is their inability, Donnie, to win on the road. I mean, this team is 3-11 straight up this year on the road. It's just not good enough. They don't. And again, you have to remember they're good ATS, but if you point out, not many of those are in a favorite role. I know they went on the road and beat Ole Miss the other night, but I also look at the level of defensive teams this team has played in this tournament. You look at Indiana, Belmont, and Mississippi. All 3 teams not particularly good on the defensive end. This Bakersfield team, Donnie, is real as it gets on the defensive end. They're really good. They're really that's what Rob Barnes does. He's a defensive coach. He prides himself on defense. The offense has really just kind of been a bonus for this team. You look at the fact that they've went on the road, won all 3 games against tough competition. I mean, these are 3 really good teams that they beat. For me, I'm just not interested in Georgia Tech on the road. I've made that perfectly clear all year. I don't think they're very good on the road. I don't really think they're that good in general. I think they were kind of a team that's really kind of ridden high. But for me, I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening against this defense. And I think I don't necessarily need Bakersfield to hit 12 threes in this game. I think if they just play their offense, they're going to be just fine in this game. I think they get to the final, to be honest. From what goes on there, we'll see. I like Bakersfield. I think they win this game tonight.
Yeah, let's take a look at another angle in this game also, Jeff. Talking about the total, if you check out SBRodds.com, one of the opening lines originally was a 120 as an over-under, which again, I mean, you see me tweet throughout the tournament. For some reason, Vegas hasn't caught up to Cal State Bakersfield's defensive prowess. I get all that, but their offense is really taking it up a notch, scoring 73 points against a good defensive Cal team, 81 points on the road at Colorado State. UT Arlington got in a running race with them, put up 80 again. It looks like the betting public obviously is betting the total going over, as I see out there, 124, 123 and a half, somewhere in that range. And one of the more astounding numbers, Jeff, that I've seen, if you're tracking the betting market itself, 87% of the tickets are on the over, 96% of the money on the over. This is going to be a decisive advantage for Las Vegas tonight. And again, I get back to the point, setting that low number. Does it eventually catch up? Do they revert back to the norm? Do they play a game in the high 50s here?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if they did, to be honest, Donnie. I want to go out. I want to be the first saying I don't know that Bakersfield will continue to shoot the way they will. Especially you look at kind of the plateau, getting to the Final Four, Madison Square Garden. You had a little bit of time to kind of relish in that. I know, and great work by Sportsbook. I watched their show this morning. They mentioned they had some sort of like party for this team at one of the local, I think, car dealerships or something. So again, the community's behind this team. They're reading their headlines. It would surprise me, Donnie, if you see another game where Bakersfield just can't miss. I think they definitely have overachieved as far as that from this tournament. It wouldn't surprise me to see this game in the 50s, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. With these rule changes in the NIT, it's hard for me to bet unders. It's also hard for me to bet an under at 124. Could it be 61-54? Sure. Am I willing to bet on it? No, I'm not. I have no interest in the total here. I may or may not bet the side. I think the right side, though, is Bakersfield. I just think Georgia Tech's in for a little bit of rude awakening for a team to win on the road. I mean, you can't, Donnie, get away from the fact that they're 3-11 straight up on the road. That's just not very good.
Now, also in this game, big man, it's another. We always like to take some outside angles that are going to come into play here. Typically in this tournament, you're playing in a home and away environment, which now you're going to be set up on a neutral court, bright spotlight there in Madison Square Garden. Another thing that you want to look at as well is most of these teams here have been off 6 to 7 days. So maybe Cal State Bakersfield, who was rampant and red hot, you want to get back out on the court as if you're playing in March Madness, a Thursday, Saturday type of game. Any way that might impact these two teams, just slowing it down. And again, you made it to the Mecca. You made it to the Final Four. Maybe, it's not the huge stage that obviously the real Final Four out there in Phoenix would be. But talk a little bit about these teams maybe stumbling a little bit or maybe getting out of the gate a little bit slower. Because as we've seen, Jeff, Cal State Bakersfield on fire in the first half.
Yeah, and that's kind of was my point in the previous point where, again, you have a lot of days off here. You read a little bit of the headlines. Rod Barnes, though, a good coach. All 4 of these coaches in this tournament are good. I mean, the 4 coaches left, really solid coaches, going to have their teams prepared. But you mentioned it, this Bakersfield team, not exactly familiar with the limelight, really. I want to believe that they're going to go in and say to themselves, wow, we have a really big thing in front of us, which they do. But it's hard as a kid, especially most of these kids from the West Coast. It's hard to go into the mecca of basketball, Madison Square Garden, and play a game and do it at a high level. I'm going to be surprised if they can do it. But I think they will. I think they're going to play well in this game. And I'm not in love with Georgia Tech. I think they're beatable. I think they're a team that's vulnerable. I'll be honest with you. I think they're the 4th strongest team in this tournament right now. I'm not in love with Georgia Tech. I think they're a year or 2 away. Honorable thing that Josh Pastner's done there. He's really been fantastic, but I'm not sure how good they are.
Even taking a look at the game, let's just say from a side advantage from what the public and quote-unquote sharps or Las Vegas is doing. They opened up a pretty stiff line at -2, which right off the bat, if you're not a hardcore gambler, you say, wait a second. An ACC team, Georgia Tech, is only favored by a bucket over Cal State Bakersfield. I don't even know what conference they play, and I've never seen them play. I'm just going to take Georgia Tech. Well, the public seems to be shifting on that side. 66% of the overall tickets coming in, Jeff, on Georgia Tech. 72% of the money. The line opened up at 2. It's roughly at 2.5. That should send a little bit of bells and whistles out there, because if Vegas is going to set a hard line like that, that means Cal State Bakersfield has a real shot to win this basketball game.
And there's some people in the chat box mentioning about Georgia Tech's defense. Yeah, look, they've been good defensively this year, but you look at on the road, this team has been very average on the road defensively. Their numbers are much worse on the road. 74 points a game they're giving up, 45% shooting. They're just not that good on the road in all angles. I don't know how else to say it. You could say, yeah, they're going to shut them down, but right now it's hard to shut this Bakersfield offense down. I think to go in blind and say they're going to shut them down, just because they play in the AC doesn't mean a whole lot. Great, good, great, awesome, but this Bakersfield team's playing with a lot of momentum right now. They're playing well, and they're a stout defensive basketball team. I'll go against the public here. I'll take the 2.5 points in this one.
Yeah, it seems like that's the way you should be leaning based on those line setting. And again, you can't take out. I don't care if they have 6 to 7 days off necessarily, because both of these teams do. But Cal State Bakersfield, very under the radar. If you watched any one of those first 3 games, they were clearly the better team in all 3 of those games. Again, coming out of the WAC. Most people don't see that, and that's definitely one of the sides we're going to look at. Let's push it ahead, big man. TCU, Central Florida, center stage at the Garden, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Opening line, -2.5 to TCU. Looks like it's holding firm there. Most of the public, again, TCU, 58% of the tickets and 62% of the money, though, coming in on UCF as a side. Let's get right into this matchup. The Big 12, along with the ACC, usually gets most of the pub as being Conference 1 and 1A. But let's not leave out Central Florida. Their calling card is defense. It's a neutral court environment. They've played with the big boys and won with the big boys. Let's get into this matchup here. What do you see the difference between conferences, obviously coming out of the AAC compared to the Big 12? Do you think it's going to be a step up, or you say, you know what, I've seen enough of Central Florida to know they can hang with the big boys?
I've definitely seen enough of Central Florida to think they can hang with the big boys. I don't think that's going to be any sort of problem. And you look at the coaches in this game, 2 really good coaches. Obviously, Jamie Dixon, Lee's Pitt, goes back to his old team, alma mater in TCU. But Johnny Dawkins, man, Donnie, I talked about him all year. This is the NIT king. He's won twice in this tournament. He's made deep runs in this tournament before. I think he's made a deep run 4 different times. He's really the king of the NIT. And for me, again, look, is the AAC better than the Big 12? No, of course not. But I don't think this is something. I don't think UCF's going to this game concerned that they can hang with TCU here. TCU was a poor team all year. They were basically a 500 team. They really didn't challenge themselves, particularly in the non-conference. And I see a UCF team that played with Villanova this year. They played and beat a really good and vastly underrated Charleston team, beat Mississippi State out of the SEC, hung with SMU for most of the meetings this year. They beat Colorado, who's a good team in Colorado, beat Illinois State in Illinois State. This team's not going to be wavered. They're going to be ready to go, and I like them. But again, I like TCU too with the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look just at the offensive and defensive matchups in this game, you have UCF coming in as the 17th ranked adjusted efficiency on defense. The best part about that is it gets even better. You say 17th, wow, that's really good. They're number 2 in the country in effective field goal percentage. If you don't know what that means, that combines, 2 points and 3-point shots together. I mean, there's no slouch. Taco Fall's 7'6", 300 pounds, manning the middle. And you say, just get UCF in a little bit of foul trouble. The big man has to go out. Jeff, free throw attempts to field goal attempts, number 2 in the nation. What does that mean in layman's terms? They don't foul.
No, they don't. UCF is an extremely fundamental team. If you look at down everything they do, from not fouling on defense, from playing ridiculously good defense, they're the number 1 team in the country as far as field goal percentage defense. It's very difficult to score in them. And what sets that up, Donnie, is Taco Fall in the middle. He has an 84-inch wingspan. Let me say it again, an 84-inch wingspan.
And according to Ken Palm, also effective height per team, number 1 in the nation. Now, me and Jeff, we went to Temple UCF earlier just to watch this team live and play to see how big they were. It's amazing the length of this team. Even when they sit back in like a 2-3 zone, Taco Falls in the back. The way you attack that zone is you got to get the ball to the free throw line where the man can either stick a 15-foot jumper or pass to the wings. Taco Fall, for how big he is, the amazing collapsibility that he has to get from under the rim to the free throw line and just block the shot or interrupt it. And if you're coming down the lane as it is, you're not just going to have a free run at the layup. He's coming out of nowhere to block shots. It's an incredible advantage to have, especially a big man who doesn't foul and is swift on his feet, and you could throw it down low. He's a competent passer, competent around the rim, and a decent free throw shooter. It's a great team to watch. It was nice to see them live, to actually see that defense in order. They have the point guard, they have the shot makers, they have the defensive capabilities. It's going to be a good one there in the Garden.
There aren't fewer defensive teams, Donnie, I'd take over UCF in this country. They are extremely good. They're tall. They're big. You mentioned Fall, and I think one of the underrated things about Johnny Dawkins this year, coming into the season, what were you going to get out of Taco Fall? Was he going to be an improved player? He was very raw last year, wasn't on the court very much. He only played about 17 minutes last year. You look at this year, over 26 minutes a game. He looks like a totally different player, really. He's efficient around the rim as he would be with his size. He's a great rebounder. That's another thing this team does well, rebounding the basketball, over 40 rebounds a game. We mentioned their defensive prowess, and they're a pretty damn good three-point shooting team. Matt Williams, one of the better three-point shooters in the country. My issue, Donnie, for this one, though, TCU coming into this game playing really well on the offensive end, scoring almost 80 points a game. Question I have, at what point will the injury to Jalen Fisher hurt this team? They don't really have a true point guard, Donnie. They don't really have a guy that can handle the basketball. And Jalen Fisher, a freshman this year, is a guy that I think down the road is going to be a really good guard in the Big 12. One of those kind of kids that stays there for 4 years, that kind of thing. They played a Fresno, Iowa, and beat a pretty good Richmond team. But, in all those games, they were scoring a lot of points, 94, 86. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a tough test for UCF, but we mentioned the defensive prowess for this team, really impressive, and we know TCU is going to give up some buckets. Both of these should be great games. I'm looking forward to seeing if Johnny Dawkins can continue this magic in the NIT.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'd be remiss here if we didn't go over some stuff, being we are a college basketball show, starting out on Saturday with the Final Four in Glendale, Arizona. Go ahead, big man.
Yeah, we are going to avoid that. I think we're going to spend a lot of time on the roundtable. What I was thinking we could do is chat a little bit about tomorrow's games in the CIT, in the CBI just kind of
Let's get to it.
giving some info on those. You have game 2, guys, of the CBI tournament out in Laramie, Wyoming. This is a best of 3 series. Must win here for Wyoming. The hosts are laying 8 in this game. And listen, it's hard for me to not think Wyoming will win this game. I think these tournaments usually go 3 games. That's normally the norm. It's hard to bet against Wyoming at home here, particularly in this spot, due to the fact that Coastal Carolina, I'm willing to bet most of these kids have not played in elevation. This is a strict situational bet here for me, probably, where you don't run into it too often. You normally have at least a group that's played in elevation. I find it hard to believe anyone on Coastal Carolina, and I'll have to look into that if they've played in elevation, Donnie. This could be a tough matchup going out there, because now you're playing at a total different level. That's a tough travel schedule. I've talked about that before. You look at even some of these Mountain West teams that have tough goings in that trip. So it's going to be tough for Coastal.
Yeah, I don't know how much elevation you would have. The highest peak probably would be App State playing in Boone, North Carolina. So at least they're getting a little bit of elevation there, but nothing like that you're going to get there out west in that matchup. Another interesting thing, the way this tournament is set up, the initial home game, which was Coastal Carolina, which they won easily, now shifts back to Laramie. It's going to stay there. If it does go 3 games, the home team technically would be Wyoming. So they're going to get games 2 and 3 at home. Another interesting thing here in college basketball, that's a long travel schedule. I mean, there's no 4 or 5 days off. You didn't just win on Sunday and you get to play Thursday in a Elite 8 type or a Sweet 16 type environment. You're going to get right back at it the very next night against the same team. So a very interesting thing to take a look at, how both of these teams handle each other. If you watch the first game, Coastal Carolina start to finish, now you're going to look and see Las Vegas hang a -8, -7.5 favorite as in Wyoming. So complete shift in what you actually watched on your TV to what Vegas is predicting here.
Donnie, it's funny you talked about the elevation. I actually did a little bit of the math on the differences in elevations here.
Yep.
Conway, South Carolina, right near Myrtle Beach, 33 feet,
Yeah.
33 feet above sea level. Not very much.
Yeah.
Boone, North Carolina, 3,333. So there's a little bit of elevation.
Yeah.
Laramie, Wyoming, 7,165.
Yep, and if you notice, if you watch college football there as well, they have that ring around the field that just lets you know you're going to be sucking wind for this one.
A significant difference. This is hard for me. If Coastal Carolina can go out and win this game, that's pretty astounding to me. I don't know that I see it. But do I want to lay 8 either? No. I get the feeling, though, Wyoming will win this game by double digits. And then in the third game should be a great one. They'll have a little bit of experience with that. But it's going to be tough. I mean, you mentioned it. Not a lot of time to really get familiar with that. They're going to be sucking wind pretty quick.
Yeah. How about the first game of the night tomorrow? Again, as I like to say, live from the Retriever Activity Center, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. You follow these two teams closely in this one. If we take a look at Las Vegas and what they're predicting as a point spread, opened at 2.5, hovering right around there. I see a -3 out there on SBRodds.com. A lot of -2s out there. Give me your thoughts on that game and what you might want to see, because you're finally pulling Texas A&M out of that Southland Conference and pulling them up on the East Coast. Very talented team in Baltimore County there.
Yeah, they are a talented team, and they're a good home team as well. They've won 13 of 17 in Baltimore. Again, you see it with some of these teams that are lower D1. Can they go out and win on the road? I mean, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, a team that I'm looking at back a lot of the time at home in a neutral setting maybe, but a sharp road trip to Baltimore, East Coast, not a lot of time to really prepare. Listen, it's hard to really get prepared for that. And Baltimore County, you're going to have to score to stay with this team. This is a good offensive team. Problem is, they're not very good defensively. Rashawn Thomas, I've mentioned. Ehab Amin, 2 very good guards for this Islander team. But I wonder, though, will anyone else step up? Those 2 guys had a great game against IPFW, but no one really else stepped up. I'm going to look a little bit more into this game. May look over the total in this one. I think we see a pretty high-scoring game here, but we'll see. I do think the Southland Conference is a little bit better than the America East. We'll see. I got to do a little bit more work on this one, but I'm skeptical on can Corpus Christi go on the road and win. They may be some money at home, but now you got to go on the road after a long home stand.
Yeah, my favorite game actually tomorrow night, big man. Furman and St. Peter's. As you know me, just being a big Metro Atlantic fan, being a huge fan of Cordelia Welton. The team has just played on the road very well the entire season. You know their calling card is defense, taking care of the ball, playing, solidly as a team, staying out of foul trouble. A nice run to end the season in the Metro Atlantic, winning 6 straight games, getting tripped up on a neutral court by Iona, which again is no slouch. Coming back strong, beating a good Albany team, and also going on the road in a 49-44 slugfest versus Texas State, which most people don't know out there, getting down, I believe, 15 to 16 points early in that game, fighting back, tying it up, I believe, at the half, and then carrying a strong second half. Going against a good Furman team, what can we look out here from John Dunn and the boys? Again, this is a home game for St. Peter's, so an advantage here.
Yeah, I'd almost prefer that it's on the road, to be honest.
The way they've been performing, you're right.
St. Peter's has been great on the road. And for me, this Paladin team coming in, I got to be honest, I think this is where St. Peter's run ends here. Furman's a team that's really looked good in this tournament. They've won 2 road games. They're going on the road for a third, and they've been fantastic, Donnie, all year against the spread, particularly on the road, 11-4 to the number. Chris Acox, Devin Sibley, 2 really, really good players for Furman. I just – at some point, St. Peter's going to have to score the basketball. I'm not really sure that they can. I mean, I like Welton for sure, but no one else has really stepped up for this team offensively. And I got to tell you, I don't think you're going to be able to not be able to score against Furman and win a game. Obviously, you can do that against Texas State. They're a team that plays very similar to St. Peter's. But for me, this Furman team is a good basketball team. They're able to win on the road, and they have several capable scorers. They went in and beat a pretty damn good Campbell team at home. They beat them pretty easily, actually. I'm wondering, of course, St. Peter's going to have to score to win this game. I'm not sure they can.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to want to play a slower style, so you're going to get a little bit of a clash. One team's going to want to score, the other's going to want to slow it down here. I would give the advantage just because St. Peter's is at home, and they just play that tough, sound defense, and that always works in any type of environment. So I lean at this point here in taking St. Peter's at home. They've just been a cash cow all year long if you wanted to back them. I think that's probably going to continue here in this spot. Yeah,
I mean, but I can also point out, I mean, Furman's been extremely good against the spread as well. Furman's won on the road. They've just covered in general. And you look at St. Peter's, Donnie, 6-5 at home against the spread. I mean, good, positive, not exactly, eye-opening or anything. And this Furman team, Donnie, beat UAB, lost by 6 to Georgia, almost beat Michigan. I mean, this is a pretty damn good team.
Yeah.
For me, I would look to go with Furman here. Again, neither pick I'm going to put out there just because I haven't done enough as far as capping strategy. But, yeah, I'm going to look at probably, Furman and maybe UMBC. We'll see.
Yep. Now we have a couple minutes left in the show before we get to Big Man's football plays, which you're going to want to cash in on. Tonight we have another show, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, late night on campus. We have a contest running called Baffle the Big Man. If you watched the show last night, if you hashtag LNOC, late night on campus, send a question to us there, whether it be geography, anything that you think the big man will be interested in, Sopranos, The Wire, TV trivia, world geography, anything like that. We have a couple of them that we sent through that we're liking. Again, you can win some swag if we choose your, topic and you do end up stumping the big man. We're going to send some SBR swag to you. So that's hashtag late night on campus. I think it's going to be a fun topic, big man. What do you think?
Yeah, it is. And, we try to keep it fun for everyone. I mean, obviously questions that, again, I don't know anything about showing, so it wouldn't be really fun for you to answer me a question that I don't have any idea about. I'll try to have last night, Donnie, you asked me some tough questions, and
I didn't realize how young. I mean, being an old head, I really didn't realize how young you were. Actually,
I'm a pretty young dude, and I mean, as far as '90s basketball, I mean, I was still pretty young at that point. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, we already got a couple from what Donnie's told me. I'm actually making it a vow to not look at these for the most part. I've seen a couple, but I haven't really looked at them. And I urge you, let's have some fun doing it. You send a question in, use the hashtag LNOC. If you stump me, I'll write your name down. If you could stump me a couple times, we'll send you a little. We'll send you some
swag.
Yeah, something to get you interested in, and it's fun. I mean, we have some fun with it late night, and join us for sure.
All right, let's end the show here on a high note and a money-making note. Big man, let them know about your football plays.
Yeah, we got one coming up here at 1:30. It's a World Cup qualifier out in Asia. Most of these games generally are played early in the morning, 8 o'clock a.m., 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock even sometimes. We had a really early game as well, but this one goes at 1:30 Eastern. I'm going to go with Saudi Arabia. I'm going to lay the 1 goal here. It's at plus 102 is where I got it. Might be a little different at this point. I don't have the up-to-date 5 times odds. I will go ahead and grab those here. I got -1. So basically, if they win by 1, we push. I think, though, this one's going to be a margin win for this Saudi Arabia team. They're playing at home here in Jeddah, which is a town on the coast of Saudi Arabia. It's actually at plus 117. So you're getting a really nice price back, a better price than I got. Listen, I mean, you look at Saudi Arabia, really a very good team in this competition. To me, one of the teams that I think will indeed qualify for this tournament. They have 13 points. They're actually let me get this fixture thing up here. 1 second, guys. I just want to make sure. They're actually, after Japan's win today against Thailand, Thailand's really kind of the team in this group where you kind of just pile on. Saudi Arabia beat them by 3 goals the other day. Japan crushes them today. Saudi Arabia needs these 3 points. They at least need to get something out of this game because they're now behind Japan in the standings by 3 points. So for me, against a team at home in Iraq that's not very good, Iraq only has 3 points. Listen, they're not moving on. They suck. They're not winning games. They don't win games. This really should be a margin win for the Saudis. They're a good side. They're a team that needs to win. They're at home. I think the general kind of the way they've been playing continues here. I think they win this one 2-0, 3-0. Maybe a win to nil bet would be worth it. I don't know that I see Iraq scoring. I think the Saudis come out here with a lot of momentum and play hard in this one. I think they get some points here. They really need them because in World Cup qualifiers, the top 2 teams in the group advance. You also look at behind them, Australia with 13 points as well. This is a big game. They need to have this one at home.
Yeah, no. Any other soccer games for you today?
Yeah, I have one other one, Donnie. This one's going to go later in the day. It's South American qualifiers. You got Uruguay and Peru. I'm going to go over the total in this game.
What time are we starting on that, big man?
This game goes off at I think 6 or 7. I got to look. I only have the European times here, but it's definitely later in the day. You have plenty of time. Luis Suarez is back for Uruguay. One of the obviously their best player. He was suspended. I just think both of these final thirds of this game, both these teams, they're going to score goals. I mean, the defensive strategy for these teams isn't very high. They're not very good. I think Uruguay's good for 1 or 2 here. I definitely think Peru could find the back of the net with Paulo Guerrero. I just think both these teams, they're struggling right now to get, to find any quality defense. Both of them can score goals. But I've had good success with betting overs and both teams to score in these in these groups. I think Uruguay should win as well. They really need this game. But you have a lot of elevation as well in South America, Donnie. So just be careful with that. Particularly one quickly, Bolivia and Argentina. Lionel Messi not playing tonight. La Paz, Bolivia is pretty high elevation. It's tough to go in there on the road and win a game, especially without your best player. So watch out for that. But I'll go Peru, Uruguay over 2.5, and I'll go also with the Saudi Arabia side -1.
Very good. And we got an update there. Dan Kelly and also one more gentleman I want to credit, Cameron Raphael, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Uruguay game.
Correct.
Now, by the way, do you have another show this afternoon, big man, on soccer? Is that true?
We do not. No soccer today. We're taking a little time off from that, actually. World Cup qualifiers are over after today.
Okay.
So we'll be back in June. I will be doing some Champions League stuff with them as well here in the coming weeks. We'll get prepared for the final games on that. So we're looking forward to it.
Great. Well, that about wraps up our time today for the Right Side of Campus. Jeff and I will be back tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, reviewing the NIT Final Four, how that went, and also, obviously, with the 9:30 start and a game earlier, it's probably going to start later, so we'll probably be doing a little live broadcast, live play-by-play broadcast on that second game with TCU and Central Florida. Well, this has been it for the Right Side of Campus, powered by uwager.eu. I'm Donnie RightSide. He's the big man. You want to leave him with anything before we get out of here, big man?
No real parting words. The only thing I recommend tonight is, enjoy the games and get on their soccer plays. As far as any premium play, I probably will have one tonight. We're ending the season on a high note, Donnie. Not many games left. Catch us tonight at 10. Use the hashtag LNOC. Ask me questions. Try to baffle me. I'm sure many of you can. We'll see if you can.
You got it. Take care, guys. See you tonight.